Hello and welcome to UK Highland Photography. I'm Strober, and if you're watching this video then chances are it's because you're a new photographer who wants to learn more about how fast shutter speeds freeze something and how slow shutter speeds blur something. So in this video what we're going to do is we're going to take this toy train and we're going to send it around this railway track, and what we're going to do is we're going to use fast shutter speeds to freeze it and we're going to use slow shutter speeds to blur it. So right guys, let's get started. Right guys, so we've got the train spinning around its railway track. So what we want to do now, we want to freeze that train with a fast shutter speed. Now I'm going to be using 1/500th of a second on ISO 1600 on f5.6. Now because this is a fast shutter speed, I'm going to have to use a speed light in order to give me additional artificial light to help me freeze the train, otherwise the image would just be dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to fire my photograph the next time this train goes around. So there we go guys, have a look at that photograph there. See how sharp and crisp it is? Can you see the detail we can see in the text? Now that is exactly what a fast shutter speed does in photography. It freezes your subject. So now what I'm going to do guys is I'm going to dial into my camera 1/25 of a second. So 1/25 of a second. I'm staying on ISO 1600. My aperture is staying on f5.6 and my flash will stay the same. Now let's take this photo the next time the train goes around the track. So here we go. Right guys, this time have a look at the photo. You see the way the text is starting to become a little bit more blurred. The text is starting to show like a motion blur there. Well, that is what slower shutter speeds do. Slower shutter speeds add blur to your images, just like what you're seeing there. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to 1/15 of a second. Sorry, yeah, 1/15 of a second. Let me dial that in. And then we're going to go on to an aperture of f11. I need to go on to f11 in order to compensate for my exposure. Basically balances out my exposure. So this time I'm going to switch off my flash and let's take the photograph. Okay, a little bit late there. This time, let the train go around the tracks. Okay guys, have a look at that photograph. Can you see how blurred that train really is now? You can't see any text and basically it's just a blur, it's one big blur. And that's because I used 1/15 of a second shutter speed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm basically just going to dial in a full 1 second. Now a full 1 second is going to allow a lot of light into my camera. So what I'm going to do guys is I am just going to also switch off my studio lights, because again this is going to let in a lot of light, so I want the light to be off. But as you can see now, we actually have a light on the train itself. So using 1 second of a shutter speed on ISO 1600, aperture f5.6, then what we're going to do is we're going to get the light trail. So here we go guys. Look at that guys. You see the light trail we're getting? So let me just darken this a bit. Let me bring my aperture down a bit to about f11. Let's take that photo again. And guys, look at that. Look at the light trail that we have just got from using a slow shutter speed of 1 second. So there you go, guys. You've just had a practical working example of how shutter speed freezes something and how shutter speed slows something in photography. Sorry, how shutter speed blurs something in photography. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all soon.